Well, I'm excited to welcome author Julie Castillo is a Maryland and Frederick resident who not only teaches at FCC but is a writer. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you so much for having me today, Danny.
Well, I'm very excited. I think I saw that I got in touch with you. I think I saw you were having an event or you had talked about your book, The Long Man's Pillow. Tell me a little bit about your writing history, and then we'll talk about the book specifically.
Okay, in terms of my writing history, I was fortunate to have a mom who read to me from a very early age, and I fell in love with stories when I was a little kid, and I always wanted to be a writer. Where I began professionally was out in Los Angeles. I used to write coverage for screenplays, and I segued from there into doing story coaching and editorial work and a variety of other things. And eventually kind of went from there into teaching creative writing. I've been a ghostwriter as well, and I've co-authored other books with other people. But this is my first solo authored novel.
Well, congratulations on that. Let me ask you a little bit about ghostwriting. So, that is when you write under another name, correct?
No, that's
Oh,
when you write a book for someone else. They come with the idea,
ah,
and you provide the wordsmithing. So basically, I write the words for whatever it is they want to say.
well, that's how hard is that?
It wasn't all that hard. I didn't find it really that hard. It was kind of fun.
Wow. Okay, so they kind of have the idea and the outline and the stuff, and then you put it all together.
Uh-huh, exactly.
Very, very cool. And then you were writing while you were in LA for all of that, like the screenplays and things like that. How was that experience?
It was interesting. I don't, I wouldn't say I recommend screenplays as a thing to read. They're not really that fun to read, and I read a lot of bad stuff, to be perfectly honest. Most of them were pretty bad, but
Yeah.
when you find that one gem, that's exciting.
Did you ever find that one gem?
Once or twice, I found one that I thought was really good. I recommended it, and it went on to get made. I don't think I was the one that was the one who made the decision, but the fact that I recommended it helped it move along.
Oh, that's exciting. That's exciting. Okay, and now you've written your own. The Long Man's Pillow is coming out. You have a launch party at the end of this month. Tell me a little bit about this story.
Okay, so strange name, I know. I'll explain the name in a moment. But it basically goes like this. In the midst of a catastrophic drought that cripples the eastern United States, a young woman inherits a spring on a West Virginia mountainside. And when her spring becomes the only source of water for both the local people and all of the refugees that come pouring into the area, she faces life and death decisions over who will drink and who will die.
Wow. Okay. So that is quite interesting. Putting somebody being in that position, but it could seriously be something that people face, in the world. Interesting stuff. So, what made you this subject matter? What was interesting about it to you, or this conundrum, I guess? What made you go this route?
Well, the idea originally started as a dream. There was one night several years ago, I had a dream about looking for a drink of water. I was wandering around in the woods and I found these three wells, and I could only drink from one of them. And I woke up and I thought, there's a story in that.
That's pretty good that it was delivered to you in that way and you came from it. Okay, what is with the title?
Okay, the Long Man's Pillow refers to a Cherokee concept of so a river is like a long man with his head in the mountains and his feet in the sea. And so the
Mm.
young lady who finds the spring on her land thinks, okay, so if the mountain is if the spring is his head, then my land would be the pillow that he rests his head on. And the townsfolk tell her she can name the spring. If you find water, you get to name the source of the water. And so she calls it the Long Man's Pillow. And of course,
Uh,
everybody thinks this is a really strange name.
well, until you describe it. So, exactly that. I totally now understand and picture, and it makes a lot of sense. So, I love it. So, you are doing a launch party on August 31st. Do you have
That's
details
right.
about that you can share?
Yes, I can tell you a little bit about what we'll be doing. I'll be screening my book trailer, and we'll have a trivia contest. There's probably going to be a door prize, and a reading, and possibly a discussion. And details about the event are going to be on local Frederick calendars, so you can look it up there and see how to get to it and how to RSVP.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we will be sure to share that as well. What would you recommend for young people who are, love to write as you did? And do you have any tips for them, on how they can continue to enjoy this craft?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. I would say just write from your heart. Just let it flow. Don't judge yourself too much. Give yourself freedom on the page to express whatever is in your heart, whatever's on your mind.
Yeah, that's great advice. How do you? What is your technique? I guess. Do you kind of just? Well, first of all, do you write by hand or are you on computer?
Mostly I write straight into the computer, although from time to time I do write by hand. A fair number of my students have said they much prefer to write by hand their first draft. They get a
That's
different
really
voice when they write like that, and then editing begins when they type it into the computer.
very interesting. My handwriting is so awful now just because I've been on computers so long, but I can understand kind of that different mindset when you're handwriting something. Do you have any techniques for keeping track of everything you're writing about? Like when you describe a character, or are you kind of basing some of these on real people in your lives that it makes it easy to recall?
Ooh, excellent question. I do tend to write from an outline. I guess that's a leftover from days when I wrote what other people wanted me to write. I had to make sure I was getting it right. There's in the writing world, we talk about pantsers versus outliners, people who write from the seat of their pants versus people who plan everything out and then write to that plan. I tend to be more on the outline side of things. Some of my students even create Excel spreadsheets to track every single scene that they're writing. Either way produces a good book. It's all depending on what works best for you. In terms of the inspiration for uh, the characters in the book, I can tell you that to create them, I borrowed something from gamers, something that's called the alignment system. And it's a way of sort of getting at different perspectives on things. I wanted to create a group of quirky townsfolk who had different perspectives on this question of who should have the water. And so I used that to create a whole lot of different perspectives, everything from chaotic evil to chaotic good, lawful evil. There's the way that it works, it ends up with 9 different types. So it was a fun way to kind of create different perspectives for these town folks.
That's awesome. And I think it really gives you that opportunity to live in each character, dealing with each one of those perspectives, right? It's
Mhm.
if you wanted to be the evil character or the absolutely good character, that would be kind of a lot of fun. I think it would be exhausting at the end of the day, but fun nonetheless. Well, look, we wish you all the best. Where can people purchase the book now?
You can go into any bookstore and order it right now. It comes out officially on the 20th, but you can place an order for it now. Any bookstore can order it for you, or you can get it online directly from the publisher. You can get it through Amazon as well. The publisher is Regal House Publishers. So
Well,
many different ways that you can order it.
yeah, we like to give everybody a choice on that. Well, Julie, we really wish you all the success. I think the story is phenomenal. Can't wait to hear more about it. And I will make sure and share the details for the launch party on August 31st. Julie Castillo, The Long Man's Pillow, thank you so much for your time today.
Danny, thank you so much for having me.